Welcome to Reading with Ms. Momo. I'm so glad you could join me today. Today I have a delightful story, and it's become to mean a lot to me. My little friend who's in kindergarten, who's 5 years old from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, recommended that I read this, which I love when you recommend me to read something, and I hope that you will put it in the comments of things that you would like me to read. She asked me to read this book, and I've never read it before. And it's become a real interest to me because it's about women empowerment. It's about recycling and making and creating new things from other people's trash. It's about a teacher named Miss Greer who teaches second grade, and my name is Greer, and I taught second grade for 32 years. So this book has become really a interesting thing for me, and I hope that you'll enjoy it and it'll be of interest to you too, and maybe teach you a little bit about our history. So join with me now as we read this book. Rosie Revere, Engineer, by Andre Beatty, illustrated by David Roberts. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. So here's the class, and she is not speaking. She's just being very, very quiet, and Miss Lila Greer is reading to them. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. So she goes in other people's trash and she finds things that she wants to recycle to create new things. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. Look at all the things that she's making and working on, but she doesn't want anyone to see it. She hides it under her bed. And we're told over and over again not to hide our light under the bushel basket, but to let it shine. So I hope that she lets it shine. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser and helium pants. Here's the hot dog dispenser. It's got mustard coming out. And here's the uncle with helium pants, and he's like a balloon. Isn't that hilarious? The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps a python away. Oh, she was trying to keep the snakes away from her Uncle Fred, who was a zookeeper. Let's see if she could do it. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee and he chuckled so loud he laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears. And to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed, she looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. I love it, Fred hooted. Oh, I do. But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf, and after that day, she kept her dreams to herself. And there he is, and he's got snakes everywhere. So he must be a zookeeper who takes care of snakes. But he hurt her feelings, and she put her inventions away and would not let anyone see them. And that's how it went until one autumn day, her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rosie was true dynamo, who worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave sad smiles as she looked to the sky. The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that up to old lady's dreams. And here's the great great aunt. And she really, really would like to fly. She used to work on airplanes. There she is working on airplanes. That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky, and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie just knew how to make her aunt fly. Do you think she came up with an invention? Let's see. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone. Then she hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. And here's her big invention. She's hoping it's going to help her great great aunt to fly. Do you think it will? Think it's going to work? Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The helio cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It fluttered a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. There she is, and she's got it all whirring and going. And there's the cheese at the top, and she's got the cheese flying everywhere. She had it going for a little bit, didn't she? Then Rosie heard laughter and turned around to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not again will I try to build something to sputter or spin or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." And she's so sad and disappointed, and her great great aunt is so happy and laughing and is excited. She turned around to leave, but the great great Aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said that great aunt, "it crashed, that is true. But first it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew." And it did. It flew for a few minutes. So it was not a failure. "Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. I'm going to read that again. The only true failure can come if you quit. And here she's designing and looking at the notebook that her Aunt Rose had of where she designed airplanes. Her Aunt Rose had designed all these airplanes long ago. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rose tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. And it says, "We can do it." Aunt Rose told her, "We can do it. We just have to keep trying and keep on trying and keep on working." At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. She is so excited because they're trying new things and they're building new gadgets and gizmos and doohickeys. And I want to read you this history that's in the back. It says, during World War II, millions of women in the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the Soviet Union, and other allied nations worked to provide the food and equipment needed for the war effort. Some worked on farms to grow food for the troops. Others built ships, airplanes, tanks, and jeeps. With the help of many women, American factories produced more than 300,000 aircraft, 86,000 tanks, and 2 million army trucks during the war. In the United States, these women were represented by Rosie the Riveter, the scarf-wearing fictional character whose slogan was "We can do it." And there she is flying in the helicopter. This was about a little girl who wanted to be an engineer. But this whole story actually came from this history lesson about this lady and who really did work on airplanes and helped to design and helped to do things. And there are posters about her that say, "We can do it," and she has her arm up. And there are other posters that Norman Rockwell did one, and Mr. Miller did one, and other people have done posters of her that show that women can do anything that you set your mind to. Anyone can do anything that you set your mind to. The Bible tells us that all things work together for good for those who love the Lord, and that we can be anything we want to be if we just keep trying, if we just keep believing. And you know what's fun is that around your house you can find scraps of things and make something new, something useful. They used to laugh at me because I would go in the other people's trash cans and get out things because I would save them because I could create something with them. And I want to share with you something that my granddaughter and her friend made. They thought that I needed a jewelry stand to hold my things I wear every day. So about 3 years ago, she and her friend took paper tubes and a foil pan, and they made me a jewelry stand, and I still use it after 3 years. So see, you can take paper tubes, you can take foil pans, you can take cardboard boxes, you can take broken plates or anything else, and be creative and make things with them. You can make gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys, just like in the book. You can be an engineer too. And I'm so excited that my little friend shared this book with me. And I hope that you will share what you would like for me to read, because it makes me happy to get to read books that you enjoy. Please continue to like and share and subscribe to my videos on YouTube. And I just hope that you have the best day ever. Until we meet again, God bless. Smile and be happy.